Ever try to, like, convince a friend to try your new favorite restaurant? Or maybe negotiate a later curfew?
Or ask for a raise.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. It's like this weird dance of persuasion that we do every day, right?
Totally. And it's funny how some people just seem to have a knack for it, you know?
Absolutely. And that's what we're diving into today. Like, what's the psychology behind getting people to say yes?
And I have to say, this source we're looking at today, it's not about cheesy manipulation tactics. It's about understanding what actually makes people tick.
Yeah, it's like they say, it's not about selling, it's about solving a problem.
Exactly.
So one of the first things that really jumped out at me was this idea of, get this, the paradox of choice.
Okay, I've heard of that. What is it again?
So it's like this, you go to a restaurant, right? And they hand you this massive menu, like a million things to choose from. You'd think more options, happier customers. But turns out it actually kind of backfires.
Yeah, it makes sense, actually. I mean, who hasn't felt totally overwhelmed trying to pick from, like, a million different salad dressings? Too many choices can be paralyzing.
Totally. The source actually calls it decision fatigue, which I think is the perfect way to describe it.
Absolutely. Our brains can only handle so much decision-making before they're just like, okay, I'm done.
And when we hit that wall, we're much less likely to be persuaded, no matter how good the offer is.
Right, so less is more. It's about simplifying things, making it easy for people to see the value in what you're offering.
Speaking of value, the source talks about scarcity and like that fear of missing out, FOMO, as the kids say.
Mhm.
You know, like those limited time offers that make you feel like you have to jump on it right now.
Oh, yeah, like when you're apartment hunting and the landlord's all, wow, we've had a lot of interest. Suddenly, that studio apartment feels a lot more appealing.
Exactly. So is it all about just like creating this artificial sense of urgency?
Well, the source says it's a bit more nuanced than that. It's about highlighting the genuine value that's already there. Scarcity only works if the thing is actually desirable in the first place.
So you wouldn't wait in line for like a limited edition garbage can unless it was, a really nice garbage can.
Exact. It's not about tricking people. It's about tapping into that natural human desire for something special, something exclusive.
Okay, I like that. It's like they say, you can't polish a
Garbage
can.
can.
Exactly. Okay, so this next one is big, and I feel like we see it everywhere, but don't always recognize it. Creating desire before you even mention the deal.
Ooh, tell me more about that. I need to take notes.
Okay, so say a friend's trying to get me to try this new workout class, right?
Mm.
It's way more enticing if they start by talking about how good it makes them feel, how much energy they have, paint that picture before mentioning, oh, and by the way, they're doing a 2-for-1 deal.
Because if they led with the deal, it might feel a bit, well, salesy. Like, are they just trying to get rid of something?
Exactly. Building that desire first makes all the difference.
Makes you more likely to buy in.
Okay, this next tactic from the source is a little unexpected.
Well,
The power of the pause. What do you think of when you hear that?
the power of the pause. It's like in a negotiation or even just a conversation, sometimes saying nothing can be more powerful than saying anything at all.
Exactly. Like after you've made your point, just be quiet.
Right, because it can feel really awkward, that silence.
Yeah.
But it gives the other person the space to think, to process.
And maybe even talk themselves into it.
Exactly.
Speaking of turning things around, the source mentions this really interesting anecdote. They were offered this voiceover gig, and their gut instinct was to say no. But instead of just declining outright, they took a step back and really tried to understand why they were hesitant.
Interesting. So it was less about the opportunity itself, more about figuring out what was holding them back, what happened.
Right. And by figuring out those sticking points, they were able to reframe the offer and actually turn it into something that worked for everyone.
Oh, I love that. It's like those objections, those initial no's, they're not roadblocks. They're actually valuable pieces of information.
It's like they say, a no is just the beginning of a longer yes.
Okay, so we've got to talk about reciprocity. Have you ever been offered a free sample at, like, the grocery store
Yeah.
and then felt like you had to buy the whole bag of chips?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
I am powerless against a free sample.
Me too. But it's not just about the free stuff, right? It's deeper than that. It's about this human instinct to want to give back when we receive something.
That makes sense. And the source even cautions against exploiting reciprocity, emphasizing it should be about genuine value exchange, not manipulation.
Right. It's like you want to create a win-win situation where both parties feel good about the exchange.
Okay, last tactic, but certainly not least, social proof.
Hit me with it.
Think about online reviews. How often do you read those? Before trying a new restaurant, buying something online, or even, like, booking a hotel.
All the time. In fact, I'm doing it right now.
I mean, we are hardwired to see what other people are doing, right? Like, if
It-
everyone else likes it, it must be good.
yeah. It's that whole wisdom of the crowds idea.
And when you think about it, that makes us feel smart about our choices. Like, oh, I made the popular choice. I'm so savvy.
Right. And tapping into that feeling, that desire to feel smart and validated, can be a really powerful persuasion tool. It makes people feel good about their decisions.
And at the end of the day, isn't that what it's all about?
Absolutely. Making people feel good about saying yes.
Okay, so if there's one big takeaway from all of this, it's this. It's not about you. It's about them.
100%. And I know we've said it a bunch already, but it really all comes down to empathy. When you genuinely understand the other person's perspective, their needs, their hesitations, that's when real persuasion happens.
It's about connecting on a human level.
Right. And the source even uses this example of, get this, a vacuum cleaner.
Vacuum cleaner. Okay, I'm intrigued.
It sounds kind of funny, but it totally works. They use it to show how even the most mundane things can be imbued with emotion through storytelling. Suddenly, it's not just about suction power, it's about creating a cleaner, healthier home for your family.
It's like taking something ordinary and making it mean something more.
Exactly. And that's what makes a message memorable.
So, to wrap it all up, it's not about manipulating people. It's about understanding human psychology, building genuine connections, and framing your ideas in a way that resonates.
Beautifully said. It's a skill that goes way beyond just closing deals. It's about effective communication in every aspect of life.